welcome back, listeners, to the BizBlend podcast, where strategy meets simplicity and hustle culture gets challenged. Host Sana, and today we are talking about a very interesting topic. We are diving deep into what actually works in marketing. Well, beyond the noise and all those flashy tactics. And listeners, joining me is Michael DiMaria. He's the founder of the Madman Marketing. He's a strategist who doesn't just talk about SEO and AI, but he builds systems that convert. Now, let me share a bit about Michael. So, his approach is all about measurable growth, not just buzzwords. And from optimizing search visibility to automating intelligently with AI, he helps businesses grow smarter but with sustainability. So, as a CEO or as a founder or as a brand owner, if you have ever wondered how to truly measure the impact of your marketing or how to build a system that supports both your business as well as your life, you'll want to lean in for this one. So, with that, Michael, welcome to the show. And I'm really excited to have this discussion with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Michael, okay, when people they talk about quote unquote meeting users where they are, or it sounds great, and finding the target audience, go to the place where your target audience is. That sounds great, but what does that actually mean in practical marketing terms, especially in today's context?
Right. So traditional marketing has been all about demographics. And
Mhm.
that had a place back when advertising first started, when we really couldn't tell the difference. We knew that, mostly women stayed at home with the kids, and so we would market advertising towards them back in like the 1960s and 70s. Uh, you know, Men we knew were watching sports, and so we traditionally put marketing towards them. But nowadays, things are much different. We can hit users exactly where they are. And the difference now is in kind of where we've really focused as an agency in regards to SEO is we're really focused on how people are researching different things throughout their everyday lives. If they're wanting a couch, if they're wanting a new car, if they're looking for, you know, alternative medicines, things like that, we're able to actually draw that data in and figure out the exact words that people are searching for. And a lot of times it's not what you would expect. And so this has been one of the biggest shifts in marketing over the last decade, and moving away from demographics and kind of being agnostic of what people look like and more of, you know, what their personality traits are.
Wow. So, does it mean, Michael, that, whenever we try to run Meta ads or Google ads, the main filter or the criteria is the demographic there, which age or gender or which location you are trying to focus on. Does it mean that, in some time, all these filters or criteria, they'll become kind of non-existent or non-important?
The way I see it is as a business owner, does it matter who is buying your product if
Mhm.
they're spending money? Or is the first criteria who's going, like, are people going to buy my product, not who is going to buy my product? And so we're really looking out and trying to discover less of who is going to buy a product, but more of why someone would buy your product. Um, and I think that's the biggest thing. And so a lot of times, even in meta ads and everything like that, I tell
Mhm.
people to leave off the demographic data. If you're looking for geography, I think that's still good. But Meta does they've made a big shift recently, and they've done a decent job of filtering and search intent data. So what are topics that people are interested in? And so going after those topics and less on the demographics has been found to work really well.
That is so surprising, Michael. Because when we study the basics of marketing, even in digital marketing, we always study that know your customer and create an ICP, create an ideal customer for you, and then you design the website, the product, or the services accordingly. But this is something really, really surprising. Any specific surprising insights you have got? Specifically when there's a huge shift in a way. Specifically, if we talk about generations here.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is because of increased privacy restrictions online, we actually have very little line of sight on anybody.
Mm.
You know, when we really boil it down in traditional advertising, I mean, we're really only able to track about 20% of the entire web. And so the what ends up happening is we end up spending money to try to gain attribution for our advertising tactics when if you by using AI and using other tactics out there, we can really push to target users in kind of cookie free or ID free environments.
Mhm.
And so one of the most shocking things that I've found over the last few years, I've done some work with a company here based out of Little Rock, Arkansas called Anuvo.
Okay.
They have a very intense AI product that's going out and targeting users, and it can do
Mhm.
it very well in those ID free environments. And the cool thing about that is we're we're able to find the users,
Uh-huh.
put ads on content that is causing them to convert, and
Okay.
then we don't really need to know who they are at all. We just we just need to know why they're converting and place advertisements there. And when testing out these tactics within ID free environments where we can't necessarily track in platform attribution,
Mhm.
finding large increases in businesses that kind of go all in into ID free targeting.
Wow. Is it like that A/B testing, something like that? Or, it's like you're putting out content on all the channels and then you are analyzing it and then you are finding out based on the data that you get.
Yeah, so basically how it's working is we are we're scanning the web and
Mhm.
basically creating models off of certain users that and these models are spitting out various concepts. And then the AI is going out and targeting these concepts and reading line by line on the URL. Does
Mhm.
this match this concept? Does it not? If it does, and we see a user there, serve them an ad. And the thought is when we're serving those ads that that content that that user is reading, a lot of times it's not just should I buy a car or where can I buy a car? A lot of times it's content that the user isn't even really aware that they're in the process of buying a car, but we're kind of projecting that soon they will be. And these types of concepts have led users to buying cars in the past. And so we're going to start targeting that type of content. And we can do this um, all without, cookies.
Mm. That makes sense. Makes sense. But also here, one of the aspect which many of the businesses they face that they throw money at all the channels without understanding the intent or user journey. So, do you think when, for example, any brand is completely new and they are starting their marketing journey, should they try out all the channels, or once again they should focus on any specific channel, like just maybe just Instagram or maybe Meta
Right.
or maybe only Google?
I think it really depends on the business, but the first thing that is consistent across all businesses is your brand and um I always say SEO as well, because these are
Mhm.
things that you don't have to spend money on, you just have to do, and obviously you might have to hire people to do these type of things, but organic content and organic, reach is basic like, you aren't actually spending a dollar to make a dollar, so it's consistent. The
Mhm.
next thing, in regards to other channels, I mean, every business has a different type of channel that works for them, and so it's just testing and figuring out which channel works best. So, Google's fantastic for people that are searching for your product or searching for your service and capturing them when they're showing that intent. Meta,
Yeah.
Meta is great for top of funnel where people, you're just trying to get introduced to people and then you dive into the realm of programmatic, display, connected TV, hitting these users where they are at the time that they need to be hit. And connected TV is one of those tactics that I always tell people if you can afford it, it is a must for all businesses.
Mm. And now you have mentioned about SEO. So, um, Michael, SEO has been there for so many years now, and now since you also blend ads and then AI automation, um, how do you approach measurement when each tactic has a different attribution challenge?
Right. So when we're running tactics, we're running the tactics for the best outcome of the business and the not the most attribution within the platform. Because like you said, every platform has its own attribution challenge, one, and two, one conversion on Meta could also be the exact same conversion on Google. And they try to put processes in place so that they don't cross attribute, but not every system is perfect. So, the biggest thing that I've seen in the industry lately is media mixed modeling. So media mix modeling is a system, an algorithmic system that is taking the variable spend over the course of a period of time by day. I've seen some that can even do it by hour. Um,
Mhm.
and it's measuring that against the actual conversions that the business is seeing on the back end. And then it's able to take that variable spend and spit out a recommendation of where the money should be spent. So connected TV, historically, you can't get in-platform attribution for it because it's on your television, it's not directly on your phone or computer. So, it can say, "These days that you spent more in connected TV, we actually saw a positive trend in the model that led to more conversions. We recommend that you spend 20% more in attr in spend in connected TV." And this is this is kind of the measurement of the future because there's eventually this is a way to measure the success of your tactics. Let's say if all tracking of users completely went away tomorrow. This is how you'll have to tell the success of your advertising and organic.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the biggest factor to consider, especially in this age. Um, Great, and um, right now in 2025, Michael, have you seen any misconceptions or mistakes that most of the businesses do, around SEO? I mean, we always have talked about how we can rank number one on Google Ads, which are the keywords which will, we can bid upon and get the maximum or the highest ranking. I mean, it's kind of still misleading goal for many, or something has changed around that.
Yeah, so I think for SEO, a big mistake a lot of people make is they think they have to rank for the most keywords possible. And they have to keep seeing their keywords increasing over time, and that's all of a sudden going to lead to better outcomes.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, if every single one of your users are converting on 5 to 10 keywords out of the thousands that you're ranking for, then you
Mhm.
only need to focus on those 5 to 10 keywords. And if you only ranked for 10 keywords total and your business is blowing up and you're ranking number 1 there, I think that's perfectly fine because at the end of the day, that's where all your money's coming from. But there's so much more than just ranking number 1 now. I mean, there's making sure that you're, you know, ranking for in the AI realm, on ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. I mean, these are all areas like people are talking to search engines differently, and you need to be gearing your content to speak to those because it's going to be choosing the most relevant content. And traditional SEO that has been done over the past, 5 to 10 years, it's changing and it's changing rapidly.
That's true. That's true. Because now, do you think it is sufficient to, with the help of, let's say, tools like ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or anything like that, is it just easier to just give a prompt that create me a SEO worthy post for this or something like that, a content for this, a blog, and that's it. You are done. You need not do any kind of changes in there because it will give you those hashtags, it will give you those keywords as well. So is it sufficient or something else has to be done differently?
So it's not sufficient to just leave it at that. Now, I do say this, if you are someone that is not writing content and is
Mhm.
not putting more content on your website, or say you're trying to start a business, you need a website and you can't afford to have a marketing team come in, like it's sufficient enough for that. Like you need to have something up there that can explain your product well, that when users do come to your site, they can see that. But to be ranking number 1, to really hit that out there, AI is not at the point where it can it can write for user experience that much. Now that it's getting better. There's some great tools out there. Jasper's an AI writing tool that's fantastic. Um, ClearScope is another AI tool that analyzes the top 30 links on a particular search query, and it tells you kind of like what keywords are mixed in, how many are they in the titles, how long should you make your article. So there's a lot that's out there that's really that can help you with this, but it's still at the end of the day, it's still right now needs that human touch and it needs someone to go in there and kind of um humanize the article just a little bit more. Um, Eventually, I don't know if that's gonna be needed as AI advances, but right now it still needs to be that way.
Mhm. Yeah, true. That's true. And that's quite an important insight as well. Um, and then talking about your venture, um, Madman Marketing. It's not only about strategy, but then there are systems as well. Um, how do you define sustainable marketing system? I mean, how does it look like, especially since we have most of our listeners who are from the startup background or small or medium businesses.
Yeah, so a lot of the sustainable systems is, especially when you're a startup or a smaller business, is making sure that like operations is key. If you don't have SOPs for pretty much every single aspect of your business, you're going to be hurting eventually. And as you scale, it's only going to get worse. And so, great ways to do this is, especially when using AI, you can have AI help you create good standard operating practices for your business, whether that's for posting content, that's for lead reach out. Um, there's there's a lot of there's a lot of tools out there, especially with AI that can really help you scale your business and make sure that you you aren't becoming almost disorganized in your business because that will be the killer of most businesses is the more you grow, if you don't have the practices and sustainable practices in place, you'll start losing clients because you'll just start making more mistakes. And so just to reiterate, the primary focus of any small business or startup has to be operations and creating standard operating practices for every single aspect of their business so that when they do start to scale, they can do it well and not, you know, hurt their client relationships while doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then these SOPs or workflows and processes, they become the guardrails or the basics, the fundamental principles and values on which the entire business is built, and definitely helps in conscious, mindful scaling and growth as well. So that's I completely agree with you, Michael, on this. Wonderful. Now a bit of a different, perspective on this, and this particular aspect, a perspective I've discussed with so many of our, experts on other conversations on BizBlend, that some would say that SEO is kind of dying, or or at least it's being deprioritized. As platforms they're shifting to AI search and automation and paid models.
Mhm.
Once again, coming back to the point about organic, is organic still worth the investment, Michael, or are we kind of clinging to an outdated strategy?
Yeah, so I think I just had a conversation with some people the other day on this, because this comes up a lot, especially in sales calls. Um, I don't I think when people say that SEO is dying, they are thinking of SEO in the traditional standpoints of Google, you just try to rank for number 1, and Google, Google, Google. But SEO is so much more than that. SEO is search engine optimization. AI is a search engine. Right now, when you talk to ChatGPT, it is a search engine. When you are on Instagram or TikTok, more and more people, especially in Gen Z, are using social media platforms to search for product recommendations or businesses. That is also a search engine. And so these non-traditional ways of searching for products and services, it's all SEO. And so I think my response to that every single time is SEO in its traditional sense is going away, but we are still optimizing for search. Anytime someone is trying to find an answer to something, no matter the platform, we are optimizing content to show up there.
That is such an important point. It's, specifically, so it means that SEO is going to be there. Only difference will be the search engines are going to be different. Maybe it was a few years back all about Google, but now AI is replacing it. We have social media platforms, specifically with the generational shift that we are seeing right now. So that's definitely a very, very valid point. Wonderful, wonderful. So, Michael, before we wrap up, if our listeners they would like to connect with you and explore more about the values, resources Madman is offering, what will be the best way?
Yeah, so our website is madmanmarketing.io. Could find us there. Another way to find us is on Instagram or Threads. You can find us, me specifically. I post a lot of content that what we're doing within the company, and it's Michael is not available. That's the thread. It's kind of counterintuitive, but
Correct.
available if you need to reach out. Just the just the handle. Michael is not available, and that's how you'll find me.
Wow. Any specific reason behind that handle's name, Michael?
I think when when I originally came up with it, I we were doing a significant I was doing a significant amount of content creation on the app, and I was when you start increasing your content, you get reached out to and everything, and result
Oh,
so building the business, and there was a lot going on, and so I just thought it was funny. It's like I'll just say Michael is not available. because I'm always, as a when you're working and you're building a business, you're not really available that much. But I am available. I just thought it was more of an ironic use of it.
Yeah, that's quite creative, Michael. Quite creative, and basically can become like a hashtag or a
Yeah, I appreciate it.
wonderful. I'll make sure to have all the links mentioned in the show notes. And thank you so much, Michael. I mean, really, it personally for me as well, it really challenged my own way of thinking and looking at SEO, or I guess marketing itself,
Mm.
because the very much foundation of marketing was a bit shifting, towards different, trend. So, with that, thank you so much for this strategy rich conversation. And thank you for cutting through the fluff and sharing what really moves the needle.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
So, listeners, for any one of you who is tired of throwing time and money at tactics that may would have worked a few years back, but they may not now, I hope today's episode gave you a new lens on SEO, automation, and overall marketing that actually will work right now. So, if you want to connect with Michael or explore what Madman Marketing can do for your business, check out the show notes along with this episode. And as always on BizBlend, if this episode has sparked an idea or gave you clarity, hit that follow button and share this episode with someone building smarter, not just louder. Until next time, this is your host Sana signing off. Thank you.